I'm Dr. Tranquility, Lydia Belgium, and I have found and loved and adored an amazing panel of women and people that I have had the pleasure to work with. And Amy's new to me, but I met her and I was like, you've got to come and you've got to do this thing I'm doing. It's small, but it's going to be great. And she was leading breath work exercises at the time. And so I'm going to have each of them tell you their story. And what they're going to talk about is following your passion. And what does that mean, really? Well, following what you believe in and feeling aligned with what you're doing. So they have each, in their own unique ways, followed passion and made moves.
My name's Erin and I work with a system called Human Design, which basically gives people their energetic DNA and helps people kind of understand how they're uniquely wired to operate in this world. So I work with a lot of individuals like you, and also with teams as well. And I think that, you know, it's definitely not a thing that I could have planned. I think that like my life has always been one step at a time and just trying to be courageous in that next step. I think that like my family has never been able to explain what I do. I feel like I'm like the closest to it now. Like we kind of think we know what she does, but I came from the world of startups. I was always very interested in entrepreneurship. I was working in a lot of different companies, and I think that it all felt like these companies had big missions, but like the teams themselves were totally dysfunctional, and I felt like people really didn't understand how they worked, but also how the people around them worked, and it just felt like there was like a level of just like emotional intelligence and like people intelligence that was totally lacking. And then I think on the side, I was always exploring a lot of different modalities like Reiki, and I'm also a Kundalini instructor and meditation, all sorts of things in yoga, and it just felt like these two separate worlds of like my corporate world and my just personal development journey, and I knew that there was a way to bridge them, I just didn't know what it would be. And then in 2015, I was at a party in New York City and sat next to this guy who pulled out his phone and looked at my human design. And he started just telling me all this stuff about myself that I was like, this is totally nuts, but it's totally resonating. What in the world are you talking about? And one thing he said, he's like, we're meant to work together. I was like, whatever, you know. But we ended up actually working together. But he just really, sold me on that system. I think there was like a level of instant recognition where I was just like, there's insight in the system that needs to be exposed in a much broader way. And I think people aren't talking about it in a way that people can actually hear or access. And so I went very deep into it with him, and then on my own for the past 2.5 years. And I think it just like, honestly, just a lot of courage and trying to step up over and over again. The first company I built with him, it was like people weren't ready for it. There wasn't really the demand, and then I ended up leaving and doing something else, and I was like, had given up on human design, and it was my partner, like, who was just like, Erin, this is like literally your life's work, you can't just walk away from it. And I think I really needed somebody to like kind of kick my ass into returning to it. And I did, and all of a sudden people are ready for it. So yeah, I don't know if there's like,
Well, I can attest personally. I was curious. I also wanted to meet Erin better because we're members of the assemblage. Amy's part of that. And Erin, this beautiful sweeping woman who I've been watching sort of sweep across during events and things, is in the bathroom, and she's like, hi. And I'm like, hi. Like, what do you say now? That kind of, yeah. And I thought that was the dumbest thing. I wanted to talk to her, and I was curious about fashion design, human design. And I went to see Erin, and I made sense, I think, for the first time. And you told me what I was. And that I was meant to start things up and sort of connect people and go, oh no, you two need to go here, and this needs to fit there, and you guys need to have an email and get to know each other, and and that was part of my purpose. So it was very comforting because all of a sudden things make sense in a way that they hadn't before, So thank you, Erin.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. Yeah.